Well, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. I'm Brian Arnold. I'm your host. I apologize for my voice today. I was just telling Andy that my wife came home a week ago and she was sick. I said I'm not going to get it, and then 2 days later, it hit me, and it's just been one of those that just lingers and what's going around. So I apologize, but the show must go on. So I'm excited about talking about to Andy today. When you think about one of the questions that he asked me when we were just talking before the show, as he says, well, how is it that you got my name? How did you find me? And I was saying, well, I subscribe to being able to get a list of folks that are doing something in the business. One of the things that becomes tough is when I do some of these podcasts and I'm talking to somebody who hasn't done anything, not that they're necessarily new, and times have just been crazy lately, and you probably agree with that. If they haven't done any business, then it's like, what do we talk about? What are some of the things that we say? That is not the case here. Andy is somebody who has been helping families, be able to get into homes. He knows what he's doing. He's really good at it. And so I'm excited to be able to talk to you today, Andy. So thank you for being on. Thank you for, sharing this time with us to be on this podcast. And maybe you can just start out with just telling everybody, how do they get a hold of you? What social media they can go to get a hold of you? Whatever it is, the best way to get in touch with you.
Yeah, of course, Brian. You can get in hold of me social media wise. You can get a hold of me on Facebook. You'll see my beautiful face on there. Instagram as well. If you go to either one of those, it's mostly just pictures about me and my family, a little bit about work, but I like to showcase the family side of myself versus the work most of the time. But if you're trying to get a hold of me any other way, you can get a hold of me by my phone number. I'm not scared to hand it out. Brian, if you're okay with it, I'll pass out my
please.
Phone numbers, California area code. It's 916-873-3660. And you can find me on Berkshire Hathaway's website as well if you want to do some digging on me and get more information. It's andysandhu.bhhscore.com.
Gotcha. And so tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get involved in the real estate? Where you hail from? I know we kind of talked about, you coming to Colorado from California, which, I was actually born here. It's one of the strangest places on the planet where, and I only think it works in Colorado where everybody says, are you a native or are you not a native?
I feel like it's
ever asked me that.
just there.
Yeah, I was in California for 25 years. Not one person asked me if I was a native of California. But I get back here. Are you a native? Like, it matters, right? It's
right.
Where you're able to help people. But you did come from a place where my kids are and that kind of stuff. So tell us a little about yourself, how you got involved here.
Yeah, man. I was born and raised in California. I got into real estate officially here in Colorado, but I've grown up around real estate my whole life. So growing up, my dad, as not side projects, but he built our first house when I was 1 year old. He built a house. He was out there sweating on his, working with contractors to make that happen. And there's pictures of me in a diaper cruising around with my dad. And then later on, when I was a little bit older, I was pulling wires, electrical wires with my dad in cabins that he was building for himself or building to turn around and sell down the road. So I've been in construction scenes for most of my life, off and on. I actually spent 3 years up in Calgary, Alberta, working construction. So I've been around. And why I did that was my uncle up there is a builder up there. He was the president of the Alberta Builders Association, and his kids are doing the same thing. So I've been around construction off and on my whole life. I caught the real estate bug about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago now. I spent 7 years working oil and gas. So I was out there up in Weld County working oil and gas. When COVID hit, I like to say I got forced retired. And I had an option, go do something that I didn't want to do anymore or do something where I felt like I had a pretty solid passion for. So I jumped on the opportunity, started taking my classes the day after I got forced retired, and I was licensed 3 weeks later, and I was off and running, doing open houses right off the bat and just going for it to make myself as successful as possible. Because at the end of the day, all I like doing is teaching and helping people.
Oh, I love that. And, the thing I say often is success leaves clues, right? And one of the clues of somebody's success is one, a person who's busy,
Right.
The person who's not busy is usually not successful. And
Right.
that's one of the clues. And the other one is literally how fast does it take to follow a dream, or how fast does
Right.
it follow to take a passion? Somebody who tells me, well, I want to get licensed in real estate, and they told me that, and then I want to come work with you. I work on the finance side, and I want to come do mortgage with you. And they're like, great, go get licensed.
Yep.
And then they come to me like 8 months later. I'm still working on it. It kind of tells me right there that, how much time do I really want to spend with this individual? But
Right.
somebody like yourself, like when I got back into it, I had a mortgage company back in California when I lived there. And then I came back to Colorado about 10 years ago. And then when I decided to get involved and, back into the game, the person said, I need you to get licensed. And like 5 days later, I'm licensed. I'm ready to
Yes.
go. It's like, it's like, this is a clue that success leaves. And so that's so, I guess, warming to my heart that you just said, hey, I want to go for this. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to work hard at it. How do you think that being, understanding construction and understanding, being in that world growing up, how do you think that applies to how well you are or how good you do as an agent? Are there some crossovers there?
I think there is, but there isn't, right? So when I'm talking to my clients, I can say, I point things out and I say, look, I've done construction in the past. Obviously, I'm not a licensed contractor, so you can take my suggestion as you would. Here's something I see that maybe might stick out. I think we should, specifically when it comes to new builds. So when it comes to new builds, I go to every meeting that the client goes to as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
I don't just say, hey, great, new build, I'm just going to sign these papers and I'll see you at closing. If you're in state and you want me to be there with you, I want to be there with you. I always make a rule when it comes to that. And when I see things, I will point them out and I'll say, hey, we may want to ask for this. It's not something that I see that's normal. Let's just see what they say. And in my past with it, I'm not going to sit there and measure things with you, but I'll point things out. When it comes to homes that have been built and are on the resale market, it does help me pinpoint things and look at things and say, hey, that looks a little odd. We may want to ask to look deeper into that. So yeah, there's a little bit of spillover, but I do have to remember my license is not contractor's license. It's a real estate license. So I do have to sometimes catch myself a little more often than I probably should have to, of not saying something as if I'm a professional contractor and just say, hey, we need to get a professional contractor out here. And majority of the time, it's nothing big, but it's always something I say, I'd rather know now versus you calling me in 6 months and saying, hey, remember that thing we talked about that wasn't a big deal? Well, it's actually a huge deal. So yeah, I would say my past has definitely spilled over into it a little bit, but I have to control myself a lot.
Well, and that, I excuse me, I love your passion there because when you start thinking about this is the biggest purchase of maybe, especially if it's a first-time homeowner, right?
Oh, yeah.
The biggest purchase they've ever made.
Right.
If they've never been, all they've ever done, this happens so many times, is lived in an apartment.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're going to, somebody saying, okay, well, that water heater is sitting a little off. I don't think it's connected right or something like that.
Something
It's
minor,
so important, even though you're saying, well, I'm not a licensed contractor. Well, no, but like you said, let's get a licensed contractor over here or the inspector or somebody over here to look at it because they can do stuff so fast on a new build, right? They're just going at it. They have subcontractors that come in, and then sometimes
we could talk a whole podcast about subcontracting that I've learned from these builders over the years. It can be scary sometimes. But yeah, no, it's definitely good that I have a little bit of that background and I can apply it and I can just say, hey, we need to get a professional who can give us a really good, solid answer on this, but this doesn't sit right with me. And I'm more than willing to speak my mind for my clients. I know oftentimes clients are scared to ask for things, especially on a new build. Well, their thought process is, well, if we ask, they'll say no. And I say, worst case, they say no. And, we fight back. That's why you have me come over there, is because I don't give up and I don't give up easily, especially with new builds. Like you said, they work so fast with the subcontractors that sometimes things are a little bit skirted. And I always say, hey, Mr. Builder or Mrs. Builder, we need to slow down, come back here and get this done right, because this is a huge investment for somebody.
Absolutely. And the reality is the owner of Richmond Homes, or I'm just using Richmond as an example because I don't know if I assume they build really well.
They do.
but he probably doesn't live in the development
No,
that you're in. And he
no,
probably doesn't even visit the development that you're in. And
no.
so, although he would want the workmanship to be at the best it could possibly be,
Of
they're
course.
hiring somebody else out to do it. What I love, and here's what I'm saying to folks who are listening here, it is a great idea to have a real estate agent that helps you through the process of a new build.
Right.
And there are some real estate, and I want you to interview that real estate agent as well, because Andy telling you right now, he's part of the process. There are
Yeah.
some real estate agents who will just kind of drop you off at the door, sign their name on it that says they're your agent, and then they never talk to the builder again.
No.
They just want to get the commission. But in Andy's case, he's walking you through, because there's so many moving parts on a new build that happen often,
Right.
that they can help you navigate through.
And it's
Even
not just that too, Brian. It's when the client's in there, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
when they're in there, there's certain
please,
opportunities that we can pinpoint out to a client, especially in like the pre-drywall meetings. I always bring up questions like, "Hey, have you thought about when you were looking at the show home where you'd put your couch and your TV? Because we want to know where those studs are, so we can take a picture of the wall as a whole, and we can measure that out. So we can have it pre-measured. So when you walk in your house, you know exactly where you're bolting your TV to, and you don't have to play the game of drilling holes and trying to figure it out or trying to find a stud finder. We just know right off the bat these two studs that you're going to be hanging your one of your
yeah,
most expensive investments out. Also, we know that it's going to be there and it's going to be sturdy right off the bat. Or we know that we can hang pictures over here. Biggest mistake that we almost had at our house was I was hanging a picture in the bathroom and I felt a little squishiness and I stopped. Well, good thing I stopped because that was a water line.
oh my gosh,
But had I not known, had I taken that opportunity even on my home, because we built our house new,
yeah,
I didn't even think about it until after the fact when I realized, oh man, I really wish I had the opportunity to take pictures of these. I'm going to make a mental note every new build. I'm going to bring that up to those clients, make sure they know. Do they care? If they don't care, maybe we just take a picture anyways for safety's sake. That way we don't, flood the house in the first week or drop your brand new TV, whatever it might be. So yeah, it's
yeah.
it's it's definitely worth having somebody out there who's willing to engage with the builder and be there at all times to make sure your back is covered.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And there's, like I said before, there's so many moving parts. There's,
Yep.
like the last one that I was working with some clients where, we were using the builder's title insurance, right? The
Right.
whatever homes, had their own title insurance that they use. Well, they're not explaining things to the borrower. And so when the real estate agent was able to step in and say, wait a minute, no, that's not what you guys said. That's not what we wrote on this contract. That's not, we need to
Right.
get this done correctly.
I've got a
We're
story
able to
for you.
do that. And I'm sure that, where you've been in those situations where that's not going to come from the builder who's saying, okay, and, sometimes they're going to want you to use, in my case, their preferred lenders and that kind of stuff. And I get that.
Right.
But sometimes we can actually make a better deal without the preferred lender,
100%.
that's
And I
all
was
going through one house but doing everything. But to me, the real estate agent is the key. I don't know. And very rarely do I ever meet with somebody who uses the builders, as the real estate agent, because they wouldn't have come to me and that they're using everything in house.
right.
But I see where there's a need in a big way.
No,
Oh, so cool.
I had just had my first nightmare scenario with a builder, where we did have to, that's where I stepped in and I had to play protection a little bit. I had to talk my clients out of signing paperwork because the home wasn't done.
Okay.
The excitement of a new home is very exciting. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, on those final walkthroughs, while my clients are looking at the grand scheme of things, I'm behind them looking at the small things, saying, hey, did they fix this? Did they fix this? Did they fix this? Because you got those, they don't like to call them blue tape walkthroughs anymore, but I do. And it makes them really angry. But I take pictures of all of your blue tape walkthroughs. When my clients leave, I shake their hands and say, I'll see you guys soon. I go back in the house and I record the whole thing. That way I can make sure that sometimes things fall through the cracks, especially
Yeah.
when you're calling in subcontractors to come in and take care of that stuff. Stuff happens, right? Nobody's perfect. And you want to be able to catch those things. So I make sure that I'm there and available to catch those things for you, especially when we're on those final closing days, when clients are, you're closing on your brand new house. It's really exciting. You want to be somebody back there to say, hey, I'm really excited for you, but there might be some things that weren't fixed. We got to make sure that we get those fixed before closing, or what do we need to do to make sure these things are guaranteed to be done? And one of those nightmare
Mhm.
scenarios just happened where I had to take my clients outside, tell them, hey, I'm so excited for you guys, but I'm not excited for the finish of the home just yet. Let's take a step back, breathe for a second. Let's walk back in the house and make sure if you guys are happy, then I'm happy. But if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, I think you'll realize maybe we need to give the builder a little bit more time to get the projects done. And we're really lucky we did. Also, I had read the contract, so I had known in their contract it clearly stated they won't do things after closing.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
So what I had to say to the builder was to the manager on site, they said, hey, we promise we'll get this stuff done. I said, promises are fantastic. If you can put it in
Right.
writing, then we'll go sign. And they said, we won't do that. So the response to my clients was, I really highly suggest we don't close because there's no guarantee that this will close. They could change their mind right after this and say, well, you signed per the contract. We don't have to do this. So it definitely benefits to have somebody who's going to be there step by step by step on any home, but especially on new builds as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. What would you say your superpower is? I can kind of tell by just listening to you. But in this whole world, what's the thing that you do best that maybe other
Um,
folks don't do?
I like to call myself the CEO of Smiles. So I think my
Okay.
superpower is making people at ease when it comes to the purchasing of this of their new home, whether they're first time home buyers, it's their ninth property, it's their 20th investment property. There's always a little bit of
Mhm.
nerves when it comes to doing that. And I always say to my clients, I go, listen, we're going to make this fun. This isn't going to be just buying a home and being scared the whole time. I'm going to walk you through the whole process. Um, to the point that when we close, I sometimes get clients calling me back a day or two, maybe 3 days later, and saying, hey, it's a little weird not hearing from you because we've heard from you for so long that now all of a sudden you're not there. You're not in our lives. And I say, you know what? The reason is I want you to enjoy your new home. Don't worry, I'm never leaving you again. You've got a new friend that's with you. Think of me like family. I'm always going to be there. Maybe not as your real estate agent now, but definitely as one of your friends. And it takes people a little bit of time because I'm always there every day, every couple of days when we're looking at homes, calling saying, hey, how's everything going? How's, such and such situation going on with whatever that might be? And once we're under contract, I'm calling you all the time just to make sure, hey, how are you guys feeling? You guys are feeling great. Good. Here's our next step in the process. And it kind of freaks people out because I'll say, all right, guys, I'm going to give you guys a call in about 2 weeks just to make sure everything's going well. You guys are all moved in. And they just say right off the bat, where are you? we miss you kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm always here for you.
But what could a potential buyer see from you? What are some of the things that they could see? Hey, I come to Andy. I say, hey, Andy, I want you to help me find a home. I want you to help me. What is the main thing that they could know that they're going to get from you when we do this?
I think the biggest thing is you're going to get treated like family. That's my biggest thing with all
Okay.
my clients is I treat everybody as if you were my mom or dad, my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, whatever it is. So you're going to get the best out of me at all times. Um, and my eagerness. I'm always eager to help you guys out, help my clients out, um, and settle their fears. Like we were talking about earlier, it's a scary process when you're buying a house, whether it be your first, your second, your 20th, whatever it might be. But that's what you got me for. I always tell my clients,
Mhm.
if you ever have a panic, if there's ever anything going on where you need to call me, I don't care. Call me at 2 a.m. I'll answer my phone. I might be a little groggy, but you can call me. I'll answer it. So I think that's one of the best things that clients can look out for is I've got your back at any time of day,
Okay.
and you can know when you're working with me that it's as if somebody in your family is helping you out, but way
Wow.
way more intense about it. I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah. Well, and I love that. That is so cool that you know it's not like you're saying I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're just saying I work when I need to because you need
Right.
me during that time. And I think,
Yeah.
we need to differentiate that sometimes because some people, well, you just work all the time. You're what kind of man are you? Whatever, you got a family, you got a wife, you got kids, you have all those things that make a good household. You're just saying I'm available to my clients when they need me to be available to my clients, which I think is just
Absolutely. And if you're not
incredible.
available, one of the things I hate the most was when I first started was a lot of agents told me set your boundaries right off the bat. You only work from 8 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and you don't answer phones. I said no. If something's going on with my family, aka my clients, I want to be there for them. So I want to know what's going on, and if it's something I can help them out with right away, I'm going to do that. Perfect example was right
Yeah,
when electricity cut. I had those phone calls and I answered immediately. I was right there taking care of clients.
yeah, which is so cool. I mean, excuse me. I think of, the stressfulness of buying a house is stressful enough,
Mhm.
and you can't predict. Like the other day, I had a lady who, she got a whole bunch of like the disclosures in the mail that weren't the same as what we had discussed. And they
Right.
weren't. They were something that was sent prior to, took a couple weeks to get to her house, and then we had already
Right.
sent something since then, right? And so freaking out, at 7 a.m. or whatever it was for me, she's in California. So 6 a.m. for her. She's having a
Right.
crisis, and I'm not gonna answer the phone because
Right.
I'm on my walk or whatever. Well, no, it's important because as stressful as this process can be, you don't want to make more stress by her waiting, having to dial my number 15 times for me to answer the phone. And
Right.
most of the time it's a quick conversation, right? It's a, hey, you know what? Those were sent out prior to, look at the date on it. Oh, yeah, we've talked about it since then. Great. You
Yeah.
have a wonderful day. That little bit of just customer service goes such a long way. Let's talk a little bit about the market and where it's where it's at and where it's been at. It's a thing that goes up and down, right? And so,
Right.
is there a good time? Is there a bad time to buy a house? But what do you see happening with these ups and downs in the market? And, what's going to happen with people who wait? What's going to happen with people who don't wait? What do you see as things that we should be looking out for?
I think right now with people who have the opportunity to purchase a home who might be on the fence, now's a great time. The competition isn't there. I like to give this analogy is during COVID, a lot of people were priced out of homes. It's just one of those things. There were people who just had extra money on hand to go over asking and to get these homes, and it was fantastic for those people. There was a lot, and I worked with a lot of clients who we put in a lot of offers and we lost a lot of offers because it all came down to money. With today, I think it's a great opportunity for somebody who has the opportunity to buy. You're going to hear this with every agent says this, but it's the truth. It's marry the home, not the mortgage, right? Find the home that and when I talk to my clients, I always ask them, when we're looking at a home, is it a 2-year home, 5-year home, 10-year home, or forever home? That's how you want to treat it. If it's, your first stepping stone home, if we can get you 70, 75% there into what you're looking for, it's a fantastic opportunity. We should take that chance on putting an offer in because you're going to outgrow it, or you
Mhm.
might want to move up and step up in the future. So I say, if you have the opportunity today to purchase a home, you should be going after it, because as interest rates start coming down, we're going to see a lot of people come back on the market, and we might see that potential for homes to start going back over asking. Um, just in the last week or so, I've seen an increase in showings. A lot of my lender buddies are saying they're seeing a huge increase on their applications. So things are starting to move again. And if you're already through that process and you have the opportunity to take that chance now, otherwise you might be back on the sidelines again, and you don't want to miss that opportunity.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying there. And when you think about, there's more applications coming in already. Interest rates
Mhm.
a year ago were in the fives or whatever it was, and then they jump up to the almost to 8. Now they've come
Right.
back down to just right below 7, and we're already seeing this influx of
Change.
people. What
Yeah.
happens if it goes down to 5 point something? It's just going to be this barrage. And the inventory, here in Colorado, I don't foresee inventory getting to a point where it's like, oh, there's just more houses than there are people.
Right.
People are still moving here, right? So we still have a limited amount of inventory. What wow, what could you say about the inventory that's here now?
I think the inventory that we have on market currently is definitely not on par with how we've been talking about it, where there's not enough homes to versus people looking. I think we're still there. We're at a point right now where what inventory we do have, buyers are, which they have every right to, they're being a little picky. They're taking that time to shop, make sure that the purchase that they're going to be is the right home for them for whatever time frame they're going to be in. I am seeing homes starting to come on and off the market fairly quickly. I just had one this last week. It was only on the market for the weekend, essentially, and we were in a multiple offer situation, and we had to work through that, and it threw me for a loop a little bit. I wasn't expecting. I think we had around 30 showings over a weekend with open houses. I was having to step out of the house and allow people to come tour the home because they're like, we have our agent. We really want to see the house, by all means. And it had to put me back into that mindset of multiple offer situations, how we have to walk our clients through those properly. So we're seeing a bit of an increase in homes on market. I anticipate January, February, once we're through the holiday season, I think we're going to see a bit more, but we're also going to see a lot more buyers hitting the market too. So it's going to be one of those balancing effects right there.
Yeah. I was in a meeting yesterday where they were saying like homes out by Fort Morgan were in like that $300,000 range that were brand new. And both of you and I have been in the California world where people don't mind driving 45 minutes or an hour to work. I think my daughter right now, she takes the ferry into San Francisco and into San Francisco. Oh, wow. And so by the time she goes from her house to the ferry to get up and then walk through her job, it's an hour and 15 minutes to get to work. Fort Morgan's a half hour, 37 minutes away from Denver, as if it's like this far away place. But affordable housing that's available all over, it's just not in those epicenters that people want. What would you say for somebody with the commute and that kind of stuff, even with working from home and that kind of stuff? What's your thoughts?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Just, your thoughts on being able to commute and finding houses that are outside and having that willingness of what's, or should I just look for stuff in the epicenter? What is your...
No, absolutely. No. If you have the opportunity and the willingness to do a little bit of driving to find a house, and the epicenter, the Denver metro area just isn't where you can currently buy a house. If you can take that opportunity, jump on it. Get yourself into a home. A home is like the market. It's cyclical. It's going to be up and down, but it's always trending upwards. Take that opportunity if you can. If you can find a beautiful house in Fort Morgan, up north, Greeley area is a fantastic area up there. All those small little communities up there, Meade, heading even south. If you can find it, do it. If you can find a great community where you want to live or raise a family or just whatever it might be, take that chance and you'll see that it'll benefit you in the long run. But I will say there are little neighborhoods in the Denver metro area that are still somewhat affordable. Are they in the 300s? Probably not. But are they sub fives? Absolutely. I am starting to see a lot more homes hit the market that are just under 500,000 and are well below. And those homes are getting scooped up because those people who are looking are on it. So there's ample opportunity all over Colorado for first-time home buyers or even seasoned buyers.
Yeah. And for the buyer who's, in that, I make, family, whatever it is, under $50,000 a year, you might have to go out a little bit. But between that $50,000 and $100,000 a year, there's going to be some deals that are out there, whether it's down payment assistance or other things to do. So I guess what I'm saying is don't be discouraged that you can't find something until you call one of us to be able to say, hey, look, there are some abilities to find some things that you might be really happy with. And especially if you're planning on scaling up and moving up, it's the best time to be able to get going. Andy,
Absolutely.
I thank you for your time. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for just your willingness to, whatever these things are, the technology and everything else, because I want people to call you. And so please tell people how to get a hold of you. Any of those closing thoughts that you might have before we end our podcast today.
Absolutely. Everybody can reach out to me. Again, my phone number, I'm not scared to share it. It's area code 916-873-3660. You can find me on all social media platforms with my name, Andy Sandhu. Just look for this handsome face. If you can see it, you'll know it's me. You can find me on Instagram, the Facebook. You can also find me on Berkshire Hathaway's website. It's andysandhu.bhhscore.com. If you can't get that, or if I said it wrong, just hop on their website, search my name, you'll find me. And also, I'm one of those guys too. I don't have a territory. Call me up if you're looking for a house in Cheyenne, all the way down to a little bit below Colorado Springs. I got you. I'm there for you.
Nice. Yeah. So any closing thoughts that you'd have that you want people to make sure that they know, or yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's on the fence about it, or if you just want to have a conversation with an unbiased person who's only going to be out there to give you the honest truth, call me. You've got it. And feel confident that taking that first step is always going to be, it'll turn into the most amazing thing in the world, whether you're ready to buy now, or you might need a little bit of help for a little bit to get yourself to that point of buying your first home. I think you, Brian, and me, we're both probably the same people. We're there to only help and look out for our clients. So get out there, do it as soon as you can, and you will be ecstatic over what you'll see.
Oh, absolutely. And so again, I want to thank you. He is absolutely right. We want to do everything we can help you. I say this at the end of every single show. Let us help you. We are there. We want to help you. You can do this. It's important to you to know that there are things out there that you may not know that allow us to be able to help you, and you can do this. And third, you deserve this. We are part of a country that allows for home ownership, allows people to be able to move up and create, almost some generational wealth through this thing that's called real estate. And everybody deserves to be part of it. That's what I'm saying. You deserve what you don't believe you might deserve. That $2,000 a month rent in 10 years, that's $240,000, which is more than half of one of these houses that we're talking about, that you can have as being your own and start building up. So thank you again for being on, Andy. We're going to do this again. I hope we can bring in maybe one of your clients and, have them talk to you. And so just thank you. I can't wait to talk to you guys again on the next one. Have a great, wonderful day.
See you later, man.
This is Brian Arnold, and if you are listening to this part, you've just watched one of our episodes of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight, where we've just talked to one of the best of the best. And I want to thank whichever guest that was here. They are phenomenal. They are amazing. They are the top of the top, the best of the best that are in our industry that are here with us today. And so I encourage you to please call them, pick their brains. They work for you. They enjoy working for you. They are incredibly good at it. And so I want to make sure that you give them a call. So whoever you listen to, whichever one you saw that you were there, please do that. The other thing is everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves a home. I say that at the end of my show. You deserve it. Let us help you do it. My goal is to make sure that we see homeownership. It just sickens me to see apartment complexes continue to go up, because I know those are people who haven't been able to make the call or figure out a plan. So let us help put that plan together for you. I have some websites that allow you to do that, and I'll put those in the bottom, but please do. I am a lender. I do work in the lending space. If you do not already have somebody who's pre-qualified you, I would love to be able to have that opportunity to earn your business and qualify you. My number is 720-682-2223. That's 720-682-2223. Give me a call anytime, and I would love to be able to help you with that. We also do living trust. And so when we think about an estate, to try to avoid probate and make sure that doesn't happen. So whether it's if you own a home, and you should have a living trust. And I will say that everyone not just deserves it, everyone needs a living trust if they own a home. And then finally, just wanted to thank you for watching these episodes. And so please tune into more. Would love for you to see and be able to shop around. So thank you for doing that. Again, I want to make sure that you know that you can do this. You deserve this. And let us help you make it happen. You guys have an awesome, wonderful, awestruck, incredible day today.